Aloha. Hey, it's Friday, and this is going to be the time that I'm going to be starting this new feed called Ripcurrents, and that's going to be a live. I've got a co-host, Julia, and sometimes I'll be doing this solo. Where I'm going to be talking about marketing, brand identity, brand strategy, growth marketing, sustainable growth marketing, building a community, building a groundswell. My book, what's going on in marketing, the industry. For me, it's an opportunity. I really admire the Joe Paluzzi and Robert Rose, who have consistently been showing up doing their live podcast. It's like I don't miss it, or I watch the replays if I do miss it, and they've been doing it on live. It's really inspired me to kind of do the same thing, to show up and just kind of share some of my thoughts about what's going on. And Joe Paluzzi just dropped today a really great live about the tilt, which is, figuring out your angle, why it's so important to build an audience today. If you're a business person, you're somebody that's, even working at a company, like really building an audience. If you're worried about AI, build it. I call it dig a well before you're thirsty. If you build an audience before you need it, and going forward, personal brands are going to be so important. Building an audience, and it's never been more important, especially with AI. So there's just so many great topics that are pertinent right now. I have a newsletter on my feed. If you want to go check, I'd love for you to subscribe. If you're listening to this, please go grab it. It's called, or you can type in wavelengthsweekly.com. It'll take you to it. But it's my newsletter on LinkedIn, and I just wrote a thing called content coherence, about how it's like kind of showing up more and more that gritty, raw, and real, unrefined is becoming more desirable. Like, for example, today, I was going to have a co-host, someone to come on with me and stuff, and we had a plan, and it didn't happen. I was like, I'm going to just be raw and real and just jump on and go, because I want to kind of get the habit of like coming here on Fridays, wrapping up the week and talking, connecting, and sharing a little bit about what's going on in my world, what's going on in marketing and branding, kind of getting a little bit more of a voice and kind of getting a little more brave about just getting my point of view out there into the world, and because I'm telling other people to do the same for their personal brand. Many of you that don't know me, I'll just give you a little background. I've been working in marketing, advertising, branding for 30 years in the whole category, if you will. But really, it's been the last 15, 20 years. I had an agency, SDMG, that I sold, and that was around for 10 years. It was a direct response marketing agency. I had a film production company called Launching Studios. You can sort of see it in my feed, for about 12 years, or 9 years, I think it was, where we were filming backcountry heli skiing, cat skiing. It was basically just a great way to get lots of powder. But also we did action sports, docu-series stuff. I had two great partners that I worked with in that, and we disbanded that. And Groundswell, this company I'm currently in, it's been in the forum for about 9 years, and it's a consultancy. I'll call it coach consulting. People hire me to build really this brand coherence, which is a combining business strategy, brand hierarchy, brand strategy, identity design, and growth marketing into an overall kind of like engagement, if you will. I also have a community, about 1,000 members around brand strategy, marketing. It's called the Groundswell Inner Circle. If you go to groundswellinnercircle.com, or you won't miss it. I'm in fact right now, and this is not me selling, but it's like I have a 2-month for free pass. You can just go in. You can just cancel if you want. This requires your credit card, but that gives you access into my community, so you can sort of see what's there. I've got a course called Build Your Own Groundswell, which is how to build a community in Mighty Networks using my book strategy called Groundswell, The Unseen Wave of Business Growth. So, lots of stuff I can share. I feel like I want to just give like a little bit of a rough drafty sort of first time up there. I want to go see how the feed works. How does it look? So I'm kind of being a little bit, I could go delete this later if it didn't make a lot of sense, but just wanting to just really test syndicating, going live, doing this every Friday, doing a wrap up, maybe even doing this more. I feel like this is a great way to connect people. People get to know me a little bit more, and having some guests on, a little bit like my podcast, but maybe in a different form. And also want to learn how to be able to demonstrate, share a screen with things that I think are really interesting. Just recently, I came to this really great conclusion about helping people explain identity, brand identity, and I'm going to share that in my next live. I'm going to prepare a little bit of a presentation explaining that brand identity has been sort of put together. I've seen a few people, like Dane and a few people go, it's verbal and visual and verbal for your brand identity. And I've got a new third one. And I think these three have perfect legs. It's very different, but I'm going to kind of break it down. It'll help if you're a brand strategist. It'll help you kind of like help explain to your clients like how you can isolate the strategy, the thinking, and the designs and the framework around that. And if you're new to it, then hopefully it'll help you give you a little bit of a vision of like how you can look at it. And it applies to both a personal brand and a business brand. And I've been doing business brands for, I don't know, it feels like forever. But I can't stop, reflecting on, the shift that's going on. And people want to do business with people. I think personal brands are still just barely beginning. And we're seeing all this stuff with AI. We're seeing how this influencer was trending. If I read about it in my Jeff Boulas wrote about it. If you look at my feed in my posts, I reshared his comments on that. It's really quite interesting. But this whole age of AI of perfection, I think there's a counterbalance where people want imperfection. This raw and real. Like I'm unscripted. I'm totally just by the seat of my pants, zero thinking. I just went record, and I'm like, I'm just going to be raw and real. Like that doesn't inspire. I feel like there's so much desire to be perfect. To whatever I say, it's got to land really well. Sure, it does, but I think people want human, and I think that that might be how I show up to these Ripcurrents. I'm not going to do a lot of planning. Maybe it's just kind of wing it, so you guys can go like, "What the fuck is he going to do?" and is it going to work? That might be a way to show up and maybe even bring people on stage and just kind of go where it goes, sort of, if you will. So yeah, I think I'll wrap with that. I just wanted to just show up, give it a test, wanted to look how it looks, and hope you guys have an amazing weekend. We'll be doing this at the actual time I'm intending to go live is noon Mountain Standard Time every Friday. And look forward to getting onto a bit of a routine. It's called Ripcurrents. The idea of sort of sharing sort of the undercurrents in the news and the frequent things that are top of mind. What are the innovations and what's the road ahead? What does that look like? And I think that article will be the next topic as well, about how raw and real is really becoming the new, perfection. And it's like being imperfectly perfect. And personal brands and humans are ideal for it. And even though I've come from a long background of like trying to make the ads and everything with high production, it really feels that that's being largely felt like it's less authentic, or there's a distance there. And I think there's a room for both. But we'll talk more about that in future episodes. So, till next time.